I think it's fascinating, the psychology of sports and the ego and the money, and these are all very young people, right? And it's a lot to ask for young athletes to be on social media. People are ripping them. They make a lot of money. They're on commercials. They're famous. They probably like being famous, but there's a lot of scrutiny, and we see what social media does to people. And it's much harder to be a pro athlete today in terms of the blowback than it was in Michael Jordan's era. LeBron gets hate all day. Jordan, they don't even show his missed shots on SportsCenter. But what is fascinating about Green Bay is that Aaron Rodgers, the cool Southern California guy, Northern California guy, and Aaron Rodgers, good old Southern boy, they've become the same guy as they've aged in Green Bay. All they do is talk retirement early, want to be catered to, play the victim, straddle the fence between retirement and playing for another team. 2 scoops of victimhood. Totally different personalities, totally different cultures they grew up with. And yet these 2 quarterbacks in the same franchise, good franchise, have become the same guy. I swear to God, it's the same guy. And Brett Favre was talking about it. He was on radio this week talking about Aaron Rodgers' future, and he called it. And Aaron and Favre have grown closer over the years. They had a very prickly relationship. Ask yourself why they've grown closer. Because it's the same life experience. Let me explain. The cheese curds are not doing this. I would call it the Packer quarterback syndrome. You don't have an owner to sometimes overspend, knock on his door, fly in his private jet. Let's make the deal happen. You don't have the ability to land top free agents. A lot of dudes don't want to live there. So as a Packer quarterback in a massive organization that's well run, you're going to win a bunch of games. The networks like Fox are going to put you on. You're going to become beloved in America. And when you don't win those big games, both Favre and Rodgers feel like, I'm playing against the stacked deck here. You know, Brady and Manning and those guys have a full deck of cards. I don't have any kings. I lost my jacks, too. I lost all my face cards. I don't have an owner to fight for me. I don't have a Robert Kraft. I don't have a Jim Irsay. I don't have a Pat Bowlen in his prime. I don't have the Rooneys. I can't go knock on a door. I can't get free agents. Here comes the victimhood. And both Favre and Rodgers privately feel trapped, start talking retirement, and they both know that this position is graded overwhelmingly on Lombardi trophies. That's why Dan Marino may be as great a talent at quarterback as anybody ever. If you didn't see him play, it was unbelievable. But he gets discarded in the great quarterback discussion. He's got no trophies. It's not the cheese curds. 2 totally different personalities have become the same guy as they've aged. I would call it the Packer quarterback syndrome. Both privately resentful, biggest name in the state. You start losing the occasional games, especially at home. You take all the heat, and you're saying to yourself, I don't have a Robert Kraft. I can't get free agents here. Favre moved, and there is increasing dialogue today, sometimes from Aaron, that he's moving. It's really interesting. It's fascinating to me. Why these 2 quarterbacks? Why this franchise? That's the downside to being unique. Artists want to be unique. Actors want to be unique. Green Bay is unique. It's a tiny town. It's not even big enough to be a great college town. It's a tiny town. It's totally unique. But the downside to being unique is when you don't win, people start rolling their eyes. You can't win. It's a tiny town. Who wants to play there? Weird. It's like the post office in 2022, Green Bay. It's like they're still licking stamps and writing letters. It's the Packer quarterback syndrome. It's fascinating to me. Why in the world would these 2 quarterbacks, such disparate personalities, become the same guy? Literally. The Southern guy, the NorCal guy, the Hollywood guy, the hunt and fish guy, same guy. All right, Big Ben officially is retiring. We knew this some time ago, right? You knew it, I knew it, everybody knew it, but he released a video on social. I didn't know Big Ben did a lot of social. And it's funny about Big Ben, people think I'm very, very critical of Ben Roethlisberger. And I have said before, he is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. 2 Super Bowls, 8 division titles, all sorts of records. And he will be, I believe, very fondly remembered 20 years from now. 20 years from now, he's going to be 2 Super Bowls, a big statue out in front of the stadium, top 5 passing yards, top 10 passing touchdowns, Hall of Famer. But the truth is, if you lived through the last 10 years to 12 years, it was a lot of bumpy. There was a lot of turbulence. He couldn't beat Brady. He couldn't beat Peyton in the big games. He couldn't beat, at the end, Mahomes in the big games. And the minute Joe Burrow walked into the division, see you, Ben, that's mine too. It was mostly the last decade, wins over an overwhelmingly awful Bengals franchise, Brown franchise, and Ben felt like a lot of the last several years he was just holding on as he quickly eroded. It's very Marlon Brando. A lot of you young people don't know who Marlon Brando was. People in their 50s do. In the rearview mirror, he's an all-timer. But the last 15, 20 years of Marlon Brando were weird. He put on like a lot of weight, made poor choices, had some bad movies, was impossible to work with. But the movie poster is top 5 of all time. The movie poster of Ben is going to be great, but we have to distance ourselves from it. Because as Breeze ended pretty elegantly getting to the playoffs, getting the most out of himself, as Brady ends elegantly winning Super Bowls, Peyton Manning goes to Denver, wins Super Bowls. You know, Aaron's getting older. He's still 13-3. Name the last time Big Ben won a big playoff game out-dueling another top quarterback, and we led the show with it Monday. Google it. We did. Keep looking. It's 12 years ago. Joe Flacco, divisional round. I'm not going to give you any love for a wild card round win. And I don't even consider Flacco, to be a top guy. He was pretty good quarterback. So it's got that Marlon Brando feel where eventually you look at it and go, oh, that is just unbelievable. But if you were sitting around for the last 15 years, Marlon Brando, like they had Letterman skits on it. It was like a running joke. He became a caricature of himself. And I've said that about Big Ben. I'm not being critical of him. Super Bowls, division titles, going to have a statue, Hall of Fame, passing yards. But that last 10 years, that was a turbulent flight. And there's just not a lot of Mondays we came on and went, wow, he outdueled Brady, Mahomes, Manning. And he had, along the way, he had great defenses, which Aaron Rodgers hasn't had. Peyton Manning almost never had. And he has a great coach and a great owner and a great GM. All the stuff that privately Aaron Rodgers and Favre complain about, owner has it. Free agents, get them. Defense, always. Division, cruddy. So I'm not anti-Ben. I just think there are certain actors, certain stars, certain quarterbacks that we remember fondly, but we got to be honest, it was bumpy. Really bumpy and kind of underachieving. I do believe if you gave Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Russell Wilson or Patrick Mahomes, Mike Tomlin, that drafting, those receivers, that defense, that division, you'd have had a lot more wins and more Super Bowls. You can think 2 things, as Joy says, at the same time. He's great, left a lot out there. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.